small boy is drunk.
I'm drunk! D-R-U-N-K.
There's only one beer left.
I drank the vodka. I was intoxicated. I drank all of those days in excess.
What'd you drink, dude?
White Russian, thanks.
Welcome to the Local Drunks Podcast with your hosts, Daniel and Saul.
So, hey guys, this is Saul. I'm from the Local Drunks Pod. Today we have two special guests, Angel and Wesley. You've heard us speak about both of them. Usually Angel in a very flattering light, and Wesley, whenever he comes up. But god damn it, they're here with us both. And by Wes, I mean with us, I mean Daniel in spirit. He's at home getting beaten to death by his wife. But that's
and also fighting a terrible flu.
Yeah,
cold
that
or
guy.
something.
So, if you guys listen to the last two episodes, sorry for the audio. For some reason, Daniel has a headset at his house. He didn't bring it with him, and then when his wife showed up to visit him, he did not tell her to bring it. I have no fucking idea why. So the audio was pretty rough, but we did the best we could. And he just got back from Washington. He's fighting a pretty horrible sinus infection, I would say. And we just saw him today, and he sounds like he literally has a dick in his nose.
So he sounds like he's been smoking 40 packs a day.
Yeah, he's
and
like
also just washed the clown face paint off his face.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's
red.
He's been doing lines.
Oh
folks.
dear,
doing lines. Not
lines
a good way.
of Dayquil.
Was your last two the Seattle episodes were via like Zoom or something?
No, we did we have we're gonna get touching real fast, folks. So strap in. So I have like a studio recording for back when I used to stream video games, and I just used that to record like our interaction on like Google Chat. Audio seemed better through my headphones, and then when I started working on it, it was just got super modulated. The first one, I told him he was using these earbuds, and I go, "You need to take your earbuds out."
No, you need a mic.
And he was like, "No, I'm good." And it was just like I kept on saying, "Don't go lower. You're getting more modulated." And he was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And I'm just like, "All right, well, this is where we live now," because Daniel's always a fucking jokester. And then the next day, he called me after it published. He goes, "Yeah, I shouldn't have gone lower. You were right." And I go, "Fucking dude, if I tell you not to do something, don't do it." But Daniel's always one of those guys who's like, "Hey, don't touch that stove. It's hot," and he'll just like lick the stove. He doesn't double down. He quadruple downs. He goes, "Oh, you want me to put a dick on it? Well, guess what?
I was gonna say, like,
I'm gonna make my own bris."
He's like the Family Guy meme. Do I put my dick in it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's like who's cooking bacon? No one. And he's just crying in the corner. His fucking foreskins in the goddamn pan.
It's amazing that man hasn't died yet in the number of kitchens that he's worked in.
You'd be surprised. Near-death experiences, probably close. We are drinking today. We're actually drinking two wines today. We're drinking Charles Woodsen's Intercept. Very, as everyone knows, Charles Woodsen, a prolific author. I'm just kidding, actually. No, he was a defenseman, mostly safety for the Raiders, and he couldn't win a championship with them, so he went to Packers 1-1 and went back to the Raiders. And then also we're going to be drinking Scribe Cabernet in just a second. It's actually yours to finish in only like a half.
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, this wine is by a football player?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if it's by, but he's
like
at least
he
involved
owns the
in
winery.
some.
Yeah, he owns the winery.
He's involved. It's it's like saying.
I get it. Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola had a winery.
I don't.
Winery,
Yeah.
Oh, and it doesn't actually.
He sold it to make that god awful movie. Megalopolis. Yeah.
He sold it to make Megalopolis.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
If you have not seen Megalopolis, I highly recommend. It is definitely worth the experience.
Tour de farce.
For
Tour de trash.
Someone as amazingly talented as Francis Ford Coppola, it is dog shit. It is a very it feels like something someone made in college, unfortunately, but it's still very much worth the experience, I think.
I heard it's beautiful.
It is very pretty. His point still comes across, and in all honesty, I'm just one of those people where I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's good, it's still worth like
looking at it.
Yeah, forming your own opinion, giving it a whirl.
No, I didn't watch it, but when I saw the trailers for it, the first like 2/3 of the trailer, I thought I was watching an old trailer for Jupiter Ascending.
Oh,
remember that
shit.
movie?
I remember that movie.
Like
With
it just-
Channing Tatum's?
and
Mila
Eddie
Kunis?
Raymond,
Huh?
or what's his face? Eddie
Redmayne?
Yes, thank you. I'm terrible with names. You know this.
Eddie Redmayne is in that movie?
Yeah, he's the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks weird in that one, huh?
Yeah. Well, he looks weird in most movies. You know, he goes from like
Danish Girl.
Theory
Theory of Everything.
Newt Scamander,
News Commander, yeah. Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts.
I feel like there was a little bit of ginger hate in
Theory of Everything
in
is
there,
really good.
but that's okay.
Is he a redhead?
Yeah.
I always thought he was like light brown blonde.
No, he's like orange.
Like strawberry
he's
blonde.
like orangey brown.
Ah.
He seems pretty gingery to me.
Yeah, I think he's like he would fall under ginger, but he's not like
You gotta check the carpet in those situations.
you know.
It's just exhale and just a swig from this wine.
So one time, if we're gonna go into stories, we didn't get kicked out, but we got dirty looks from a really stupid bartender during a Fernet crawl.
Oh fuck, that's right.
Which one was this?
That was at the showdown, I think. name
Because
names, it's
Saul asked
Was-
the man about his booty cheeks, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. This.
Did I ask him about? No, I thought I was like, hey, I thought I said he was attractive, but I said it really salaciously, and he was just like, "This is."
I remember the words "booty cheeks" coming out of your mouth. I don't remember
What stop number was this?
the
This
statement.
is top 5 of like.
This
That
was-
makes more sense.
Yeah, this was like right before the end, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I stopped carrying after we left Harlan.
Yeah.
to be
It
fair,
was the one right after Harlan.
Yeah.
to be fair, the guy was already kind of like he was
He was kind of a
someone.
Oh, I vaguely remember this now. Yeah.
He wasn't happy to be doing his job,
He didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Like he got called in or something.
but he was like talking about sexual
he was talking
harassment
about
and stuff.
reporting
and-
me. Yeah, sexual harassment, like reporting me for sexual harassment. And I go,
yeah,
well, you can't talk to HR. I don't work here. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Man, I don't
And I
even
go,
work
also,
here.
this is your job. You're supposed to get hit on for a living. And then he just kind of ignored me.
Well, yeah, I mean, also he's a bartender. You
Yeah.
can't tell me that you
Yeah.
haven't dealt with worse. Like you
Yeah.
were at least being funny and nice.
Yeah, thank you. Very rare that I'm
ha-
both at the
I
same
could
time.
count a bazillion times that I've had interactions with drunk people while working at a bar
Yeah.
where I
I'm
was
gonna
like,
be
is this
again."
person going to try and fight me?
Yeah.
Which is way worse.
If anything, I was just going to bend over and
Molest
slap
him.
his cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a compliment in many countries.
Yeah, in all honesty, in most
I would
cultures.
feel like most cultures, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's a hey, thank you.
To be sexually attracted to someone is a compliment in most cultures, as long as it's done tastefully and appropriately.
I know.
We do everything with consent, folks.
Yeah. I was throwing the guy a bone. He was the most handsome guy.
Literally and
out there.
figuratively.
First one, then the other, if you allowed. And
Oh dear.
I think you were also just trying to get him to ease up because he
Yeah.
was
He looked
already
tense.
from the get-go very tense and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to add a little lateness to the
Yeah.
situation.
It's called a mood breaker. And then hopefully when you break that bad mood, you change it and it just becomes like he actually feels like he wants to be there.
Yeah.
And that was definitely when we ordered, it did not feel like he wanted to be there at all. And I'm just like, well, man, you're stuck here for the next fucking 5 hours. So
I love also, by the way, that when we started that night, and we told Wes to come out, I don't think Wes knew what was on the agenda for the night. He was just like,
he did
oh
not.
shit, this is what we're
You
doing.
guys had said bar hopping, but you didn't tell me it was going to be 6 bars, and we were doing
Fernet,
Fernet
yeah.
shots at every single one. It might,
Yeah.
like, I like Fernet now.
You're
7
welcome.
months ago, 8 months ago, whenever we did this, I did not like Fernet.
Yeah, at the
You're
beginning
welcome.
of this night, Wes was like, fuck this, like was not interested in Fernet at all.
I didn't say
And-
fuck this. I just said I'll join you guys. I'm just not going to do the Fernet.
And now, I feel like he's the one who is eager to.
Well, you
To
know,
get a shot of Fernet.
I'm a walking alcoholic.
Also, so
Very true.
some context might be helpful. The Bay Area is the largest consumer of Fernet Branca.
Yeah.
in the world outside of Italy. I have my own theory of why that kind of became a thing, but
Because of all Italians.
Let's say bar culture.
What's your theory? You can't say I have my own theory and then say it. What is your theory?
well, that was a fishing for you to ask me.
Well, it fucking worked. Apparently,
so
you
what's
gonna
your
fucking
theory?
tell us, or we're gonna
Damn it.
stand here and just?
Nah, I'm
well,
irritated.
I guess sit here and stare at you.
I can.
So my
Stare at
theory,
you all night long.
my theory,
Stares at me all day at work.
Hell yeah, I do.
my theory is that
Cat calls me and
in
whistles too.
I do, actually.
North
All
Beach,
compliments.
Hey, Cat, we are recording a podcast here. Could you not?
In North Beach, there's a lot of Italians. Is that what you're saying?
I think that the Italians did bring Fernet Branca around, and maybe initially it didn't have a lot of. All of this is pure speculation, by the way. Maybe initially it didn't get a lot of attention, and so bartenders, when they were like, "Dude, it's a slow day. Let's like sneak a shot, or let's just like drink a bit." They knew that the thing that never moved on the counter that they could
Fernet Branca.
drink and nobody would care if it was missing was the Fernet Branca because it had nobody knew about it, nobody really ordered it. And then it just became a popular thing amongst bar people because when the bartender's friends would go to hang out, the bartender would be like, "You want a shot?" And they'd serve them this Fernet Branca because they'd be like, "This doesn't move. Nobody's going to give a shit."
Yeah.
And so we all just started developing a taste for it. I am willing to bet that most people in the industry who now have an affinity or a taste for Fernet,
Yeah.
the first time you ever tried it, it was at a bar, it was a bartender who served it for you and didn't tell you anything about it. It was just like, here. Or a friend who ordered it for you.
What was my first one? My first shot of Fernet, I think, was and I'm saying this with air quotes, safety meeting.
See? Huh?
Yeah.
Safety meetings, in case you've never been in the industry, is code for everybody gather around to have a quick drink. Or a quick, like, cheeky is what we also
Yeah.
call them.
This is
It's
usually
like a micro shot.
right before the start of a shift. Typically, Sundays, I think, is the most common day that
Yeah.
people do it, but
Because it's
Saturdays
like the
as
slow,
well.
especially afternoons, because it's the slowest day.
I worked at a place where we called them flautas.
Flautas, okay.
So we'd be like, I got an order of flautas, which wasn't on the menu. And so when someone said that, that meant, hey, there's a line of shots on the other side of the bar.
Oh, nice.
And then we'd go over and have a shot.
What was the code at Runway? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what it was?
Runway?
Yeah. Oh, you never really drank with them, did you?
I mean, I was very, very on call. Like, I would show up randomly and then work a shift, and then, like, hang out with everyone afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody ever, like,
Get
used a
patient.
code word for me. They kind of just gave me a look.
Okay. Yeah, like, so initially it would be safety meeting because of the separation between Runway and Hangar. We couldn't, like, really associate with them in that way, but, like, everyone did it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would go and have the safety meeting, and then every now and then they'd be like, oh, someone's calling you on line 2, or something like that. You know, that's not what it was. I don't remember what the code word was, but it would be something like that. I'm like, oh, okay. And I would just walk back into the back section where they did inventory, and there would just be, like, 2 shot glasses there. I'd be like, all right, cool. Just take one and walk back to work.
I feel like that's a good segue into, like, talking. Well, first off, should probably provide some context for what Runway was, but also, like, what your experience was like at Hangar. Yeah, I think, like, I don't really know the audience that well, to be honest, but
I don't really have one, so we do whatever the fuck we want.
I mean, Angel, I think you and I are, like, a third of the listeners.
That's true.
It's mostly 13 to 24-year-olds from Slovenia. So anyway, keep going.
Actually,
No, I'm just fucking with you.
I'd be impressed.
That man is slightly
13
harder
years
than,
old, concerning, but
Well, I think it'd be interesting
Well,
to
drinking age in Slovenia is like fucking
talk
11. So.
about
that probably wouldn't surprise me.
distillation at least a little, or like just.
You gonna make me talk about work right now?
No, you don't. I guess you don't have to go into distillation too much, but just
I'm
like
joking.
that corner of the industry, because I think like industry folk, we often think of waiters, waitresses. We think of bar.
What's just busted?
Yeah, you see there's
All over the place.
definitely what I discovered in my very long tenure in service industry is that when you even people in service industry, like as a server, as a cook, like you don't think really about where your stuff comes from. Maybe as a cook, you'd spend a little bit extra time being like, oh, farm to table, where's the farm, how's it raised? Like you take the time to think about that. I'm very surprised how many people, even bartenders, like don't stop to be like, how is this alcohol made?
Yeah. Only like the hardcore nerds do it.
Yeah, so like
I'm
if
not
you,
saying it's a bad thing to be in.
If you go to like a mixology bar, they're all about it.
Yeah.
And it's super. Once you do learn that aspect of it, it does dramatically change your perspective of it.
Yes.
Like I feel like once I started to understand the craft behind actually making it, I drank it differently. It was right.
Send
like
me that photo.
there is definitely a version of me who drank without caring about the taste, but really just wanted the effect. And then there was a version of me after some time in the industry and kind of selling people on specific brands or spirits, etc., where I cared more about like the taste and could actually talk to it. And then adding the component of like what is the craft behind it, like how do they get that taste, did again kind of change this new, it added this new component to the way that I even thought about it, which I think there is definitely a demographic of people who are interested in that.
The having a newfound appreciation for the artistry that goes into something that on a basic level is very straightforward really I would say it really shapes, and it also really ruins the way that I perceive spirits in general, because it's like I had kind of like 3 phases with spirits. So phase 1, college. I'm drinking this. It tastes awful. I want to die, but I just want to get drunk. Phase 2 would be like post-college. I was widening my horizons a little bit. I was kind of drinking a little bit more middle shelf stuff because I understood it's not going to hurt as much. But I still kind of looked at alcohol and drinking as a means to get drunk. It was not like something to do as a social thing or for fun. Like, it was mildly a social thing that you would do with your coworkers because, you know, after you've had an 8-hour shift at whatever kitchen you're at and you just want to roll over and die because you had 85 tickets in 17 minutes or whatever ridiculous thing, it's a good way to blow off steam. And then getting into alcohol, working in tasting rooms, then going into distillation, it's like, oh, like Top Shelf is like, you can find some really good stuff in Top Shelf. I'm not going to deny that. But also, like, it kind of makes a snob out of you by default. Yeah. Because now you know how things are made. Then you start analyzing, what's the base? How is it made? What makes this special? Why does it cost this much if it's nothing?
Yeah.
So, like, Class A Azul, I think, is a really good example. And I'm not going to bash Class A Azul because I think it's actually a pretty decent product the few times that I've had it. It should not be $200 a bottle. It really should not. And I believe, I've heard the story, I don't know how true it is, but I would believe it, is that the person who made it initially said, yeah, the reason it cost so much is because I made the bottle extremely fancy. Like you get the little bell with it. You get all these little cool little things, but they're really nothing that makes the product any better.
Yeah.
The illusion of quality or of like premium.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Grey Goose. It's the Grey Goose strategy, right? Like Grey Goose is decent. It's not the best vodka, and there's much worse out there.
Oh yeah.
But with Grey Goose, is like he designed the bottle to be taller, so you had to put it on the top shelf. Because when you go to a classic retail store, the cheap shit's on the bottom, and the most expensive shit's on top.
Interesting.
Supposedly, the good quality stuff's on top. So
That's not so true anymore. But
that's
continue.
continue. But like back in the
Yeah.
80s, 90s is how it was. So he ended up designing a bottle that you had to put on the top shelf no matter what, because it was too tall for any of the middle shelves. So
Whoa.
you automatically look at Grey Goose as a high quality product, and compared to all the other vodkas in the area at the time, it was actually a little bit less. So you're like, oh fuck, you're getting a top shelf product for less money. I need to get that.
Yeah.
And then it just the legend built itself from there.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I had a bottle of Grey Goose in college, I was, at least in my mind, I thought I was drinking good.
Yeah, king of the day.
Yeah, I mean, when I was, going to the store back then, it was like, all right, I got 20, 25, 30 bucks. Like, what am I going to get? And it was either, a bottle of Stolies or...
Pinnacle.
No,
Oh my
fuck.
god.
Yeah, we've all drank our
Smirnoff.
share of fucking Pinnacle Cherry.
Oh yeah,
and cotton candy.
I avoided vodka like the plague because of my early years with Pinnacle.
I drank vodka a lot in college just because it mixed so well with soda. And I'm a big soda drinker. But it very quickly dawned on me that, and more so later on, and you know this because this is specific. I'm very specific about how I drink whiskey now. But rum and Coke is, or not rum, but Jack and Coke is a very popular drink for dive bars all across the country. I like whiskey. I like soda. I'm not going to mix the two things and make them worse as a whole when they're very much just great as they are individually.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really weird thing for, like, I think that's a really weird way to conceptualize it for people, but that's how I do it in my mind. Anyway, tangent. What were we talking about?
I completely disagree. I love them both
You jumped
mixed.
into, but I think you jumped into like your philosophy of drinking when you first started. When I first started drinking, I was a very hardcore purist. I believe that if the alcohol was good, it was meant to be drunk by itself. So if anything, I would drink the alcohol by itself or with like a rock or two, and that'd be it. That was everything. I drank a lot of vodka, primarily as a newer drinker for hard spirits. The thing is that my alcohol journey starts differently because of my family history. My mother's grew up in a Spanish household, so it was regular to have wine even as kids. So and then my dad grew up in a very Mexican household. He's from Mexico, so like beer was one of those things as well because you saved spirits for special occasions.
Sure.
So at least where he was from, every single state and region of Mexico is completely different. They treated everything. They treat food completely different. I'm not a tamale Mexican. Some people are. Their family makes tamales every single Christmas. Some people make tamales every single month because that's the cheapest way to eat. You make a big batch of them. You eat them all month. My family would not like where they grew up in the mountains of Jalisco. Tamales were not like a really big thing, even seasonally. We, didn't freaking practice Dia de los Muertos. We didn't do all this other stuff. That's all regional. Every single region is different.
Right.
So, with him, beer was the thing, always available. Then hard liquor was more prevalent when he was growing up. My dad was growing up and stuff. So you can get that. So when I grew up, I was very used to alcohol because I came from a family of drinkers. My mother and my father and my mother's family, and some of my dad's family, but most of my uncles didn't partake. So I was like a very hardcore purist when it came to, drinking in high school, stuff like that. Didn't really do as much just because I grew up around it, so I didn't really need to do that. You need to prove yourself that you're a drinker, you're cool, this and that. There's a lot of stigma or a lot of baggage that comes with drinking at a younger age. but I didn't need to do any of that because I just grown up around it. So, but friends would come over and we would make them drinks. And not to say this is one of those things that you need to do if you ever become a parent, but my mother was like, if your friends stay over and drink, they are staying over. Like,
No,
she did that with my
That's
brother's
responsible.
friends. They'd come over and they'd be like, "Oh, can I have a beer?" And I'm like, you need to call your mom right now and dad right now and tell them you're staying the night because you're not going anywhere
I
else."
think that's cool.
So it was a very open household. Wouldn't happen every fucking weekend or every single night. It happened like once every couple of months. They'd come over.
Sure.
They'd say, "Hey, can I have a beer?" And my mother drank really good beer. So she'd be like, "You call your parent right now. You're staying. You're not going anywhere. You're not even going out." My brother hang out with his skateboard crew. You're not going out and skateboarding. You're landlocked from here on out. As soon as that bottle opens, that's it.
Yeah.
So
Parent, but responsible.
I approached that with my friends when I was going out. My mother's a little more lax. She'd gotten remarried and stuff. So like I had my own apartment for like 3 months in my senior year. But it was one of those like everyone's keys in this bag's locked up in my room. Only I have the key to my room. Everyone's staying. So like it was one of those like if you're staying, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
If you're drinking, you're staying. If you're staying, you ain't going anywhere until the morning. So, but when I started drinking post 21, I was a very hardcore purist. It's like if it's good enough, it should be drank by itself, maybe with a rock or two, just to take the heat off of it. And then as I started bartending and all this other stuff, I realized that there was this nuance with combining all these different flavors, all these different alcohols with each other to really pull out the best in each one and make you notice things that you may not have noticed before in certain alcohols. Vodka is probably the worst thing to mix because you kind of throw vodka into anything, you'll just get drunk.
More or less.
But then you start looking at your brandies, you start looking at your tequilas, mezcals, you start looking at, and a lot of that stuff, if it's really fucking high quality tequila or mezcal
you don't need
brandy, you don't need any additives. But if you have something middle of the road that tastes good by itself, but might get enhanced by something else, then you start adding this stuff. And it was one of those things that like I was making drinks just knowing, like, oh, this person just wants a, and this is mid 2000s, so it was like, oh, this person wants some AMF, this person wants this. Like, people were drinking just to get drunk. This is pre-housing, fucking downturn. But you're doing all this stuff, and you're not really understanding it because you're just making it. And then you really start diving into flavors in general. And then once you start diving into flavors, you're like, oh, well, this Amaro and this syrup or this, thing I've made along with this thing and this base spirit really, now you're tasting like this hidden fucking nuttiness or this hidden fruit that you didn't really get from before. And this thing is bringing this flavor out of that thing. And you're just really starting to understand that this stuff is actually meant to enhance each other, not just be drank by itself. Because you could drink Amaros by themselves, you could drink, anything by itself, especially if it's high quality. But when you're adding it with something else, it's pulling all of these flavors, and not just flavors, it's pulling all these like kind of memories out of you as well, like of growing up and tasting food and doing all these other things.
The ratatouille moment.
Yeah, the ratatouille moment where you're just like, oh shit, this connects with that and that connects with that, and it just makes it so much better. But it took some maturity on my palate.
Yeah.
To realize that, like, oh, this stuff is actually good with other stuff. I just don't have to drink it by itself. Like, yeah, it's phenomenal that this thing is really good by itself. And it means that the person who's making it knows what the fuck they're doing. But if I take this and add it with this and add it with that, then it brings out these notes that you never tasted before. And I think that's the reason why vodka gets such a bad rap, is because vodka gets just lost in the mix so much. Mm-hmm. Is that like it's either a martini or it's nothing, because it doesn't really matter, or it's a flavored vodka. It doesn't really matter what you're drinking. Like vodka is a chameleon. It'll just take on that color of what you're trying to make, and it has no defined backbone.
Except for the Hangar One. The Hangar One vodka did have so much personality. But it was very much an outlier. It's not.
I would say for
the
U.S.
exception, not the rule.
U.S. vodka, that is very true.
Oh, interesting.
When I was abroad, in specifically the Baltic, and makes sense, vodka being from Poland, fun fact, from Poland, not Russian. Yeah. You would imagine it'd be very popular over there. So I had the pleasure in St. Petersburg to go to a vodka bar completely on accident. We were on this weird guided.
He says by accident, but he literally punched into Google vodka bars ?
No.
Vodka bar.
So we were on this guided, bus tour around St. Petersburg. It was 2 days long. And we'd stopped off in this giant restaurant.
Did they let
that
you
was
sleep
only
somewhere, or
open
did you have to sleep on the
for
bus?
These guided tours. What?
Mhm. Did you sleep somewhere, or did you have to sleep on the bus?
No, we slept on the cruise ship.
Oh, okay.
So we would go to the bus, back to the cruise ship, and then we slept on the cruise ship, and then back on the bus. Second day, we had the lunch at this place, and it was like one of it was a restaurant that was specifically made for tourists.
Okay.
So they would have just like all the buses from this tour company go here, have lunch, and then leave. The food was not particularly to my liking.
Yeah.
And so I went to the bathroom, and the bathroom was like down this escalator, like 2 floors down below the restaurant.
Good lord.
It was really weird. But as I'm walking through the hallway, I hear all these guys laughing. So I just peek into the door, and there's just like 5 dudes, like, sitting at this bar, and a bartender pouring them drinks. So I walk in, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And the guy looks at me, and no bullshit, like, immediately looked at me, looked at like what I was wearing, and goes, "Oh, so American wants to come into my bar, eh? Well, let's see how you handle this." And he just pours me from like an unmarked bottle, just like a triple shot of vodka. And I drank this thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And I'm just drinking, and he goes, "Oh, baby can handle vodka, eh?" And at this point, I was already working at Hangar. So drinking vodka straight was not weird for me. But for most Americans, that is what are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't drink if you go to a bar in America and you order a double vodka on the rocks, the bartender's gonna do 2 things. 1, are you okay?
Yeah.
And 2, I'm gonna have to see your ID.
Which is hilarious because the only step from that to a martini is that it's stirred
and or shaken. Yeah. And with some kind of filthy garnish in there.
Yeah.
That's literally the only difference.
That's funny.
But so I started talking to this guy. I was like, "Oh yeah, I work at a vodka distillery in the States, and like, this and that." And I was just telling him, like, I'm super interested to learn about vodka. So he just starts pouring me all these unmarked bottles, and each one of these was just so drastically different from each other. Like, you and I working in distillation, now we've tasted things right off the still.
Yeah.
We know that it is these micro differences that can make or break a spirit.
Yeah.
With vodka specifically, because you are doing with something so high proof, even the most minute differences is a huge change for the characteristic of that particular spirit.
Yeah.
Which is why typically you would look at it and just say, no, this needs to be as neutral as possible, at least in the context of the United States, so that way it can appeal to the broadest of audiences and do well. But tasting all these little micro differences was fascinating. Mm-hmm. And that was really, I think, the very first step where I was like, maybe I want to go into distillation. And this was 2018, so I just started at Hangar 1.
Yeah.
Like, I'd been at the tasting room for like a month and a half, maybe. So this is bizarre. It was weird. It's a really weird experience.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Sorry, that's a lackluster response.
Cool, yeah, man. Like, good for you.
More wine.
Yeah. We're drinking now Scribe Cabernet Sauvignon, bottle number 2836.
Did I bring the 21 or the 19?
You brought the 21.
Okay, I didn't remember.
I guess he.
I
he
wanted
hates us.
to.
19 only for friends.
I wanted to circle back.
That's for a special day, sir.
I want to circle back about like the
When you finally lose his virginity.
when you
Second time or the third time?
If you're talking about the booty hole, you're talking about booty hole right now.
Wait, what's the
Said
third
no.
one?
The Quagmire.
No,
What's the quagmire?
Someone didn't watch Family Guy. Did
I
we ever
wa-
take that pizza out of the oven?
it is. It's ready to roll if you want to go. Eat
I
it.
did watch Well, never mind.
It's on the plate.
Wait, what's the quagmire?
They never tell you.
Okay.
They kind of hint that it's somewhere behind the kneecap.
What? The Legusi.
The Legusi.
My
I saw
my
that.
partner's
I saw that
going to
dribble.
be very pleased that I somehow swindled this into a podcast, but we have a joke, which is we call it the Lagusi.
Okay.
It's this imaginary spot that you can fuck on the leg. It's called the Lagusi.
I think it's probably related, actually.
It's probably a quagmire.
It's probably the quagmire, yeah.
No, Saul was talking about like the nuances of finally kind of hitting a point where you can take a spirit and understand, okay, this is going to mix well with this, so then you can pull this out and stuff.
Yeah.
And something that kind of I think when I think of myself as like someone who just a fan of drinking, I guess, or alcohol in general, I think of myself as predominantly a fan of cocktails.
Sure.
And mostly because of that like creativity component.
Yeah.
I really dig how many variations of something you can make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember when I first started getting good at bartending, I had turned it into a bit of a formula. I was like, okay, every cocktail has a sweet component, either a citrus or some sort of like fruitiness, and then like a base, some sort of like spirit that you're really drawing most of the flavor from.
Yeah.
And when I like transcended that and started to really look at cocktail lists and be like, oh, like using two different spirits as like flavor profiles is actually really like impressive. Like that's really neat. I realized that I was a shit bartender
At that point.
yeah. I was like, oh yeah, no, I've really like gotten this down. Like it's just every cocktail is just this formula. And then when I found the people doing the stuff that was like outside of that formula and like it was actually really good, I was like, oh, dude, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I brought this up to you multiple times. I'm not sure I've talked to you about this, Angel. The biggest thing about that formulaic approach to cocktails that I hate the most, and I don't. Any bartenders listening, all I have to say is 111, and you know exactly what fucking cocktail I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I hate the 111 Negronis. They are so.
What's your ratio?
I do 175 gin, 0.5 Campari, and like 0.7,
Thirds?
like the thirds are 0.75 of
I think that's called alcoholism.
no.
Because
I think you just really like gin.
No, it's like I really don't actually. Gin is I know, blasphemy considering my
No, but I agree. Actually,
Work.
I don't think a 111 Negroni is all that
it's so
balanced.
constraining.
yeah.
It's also just
so
really
constraining.
floral because
Yeah.
both the Campari and the gin are incredibly floral. So you end up with something that's just like all nose.
And Negronis to me are supposed to be booze forward anyways because they're stirred.
Yeah, fair.
So like, why not just go heavier on the base spirit anyways? Because it's supposed to be boozy, and then you can brighten it up a little with your garnish and your Campari, and if you want to
fair.
be a little bit heavier and sweet with like obviously everyone's going to have their own different preferences and approach. That's my preference, is I want to be much heavier on the spirit. But when I bartend, I usually do it my way, and I get more compliments than people going, "What is this?"
Yeah.
About like, "Oh, this is different," and it's that difference that makes people want to buy it again.
Yeah.
I was always told that I made the perfect old fashioned.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, now you got to make me one.
So I'm gonna,
He's talking
I'm
about
gonna hang on
missionary.
to that. Did you have a
How
cocktail
vanilla.
that people were like, "Ooh, you make this really well"?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you were talking about the Negroni.
Yeah, no.
But maybe
for
it's a
my,
different
I think the one the one that I like to make the most, that I get most compliments of, is Sazzy's.
Oh, dude, I love someone who can make a good Sazerac is like, I will trust you with every drink. If you can make a perfect Sazerac, I will no longer ask or have any worry when I order anything from you.
My
Like, that's
recommendation,
the
at least the
ultimate.
way that I approach it, is you have to understand specifically the absinthe you're working with when you make that Sazerac. If you understand the absinthe, you have unlocked the key to making a good Sazerac. And the key question I always ask when people order it at the rake is, do you want it to be absinthe heavy or absinthe light? Because if it's absinthe light, just do a glass rinse, dump that shit out.
Oh, I don't think it should ever be absinthe heavy. Absinthe's so strong. I think a Sazerac is all about the aroma.
So I prefer mine absinthe heavy, but that's because I understand the absinthe that I'm working with, and that you want, if you're going to go heavy, you want that in there early because you want it watered down. If you don't understand your absinthe, you're just going to put it in with everything else, mix it, and put it in. I think seasoned bartenders, at least, will generally at least do a rinse.
He can't get into it. He's good. What do you have a cocktail cell that you feel like you are particularly good at making? And what is your take on the Sazerac? Is it all about the absinthe? Is it, in my opinion,
I've never done. It's funny because I've actually like absinthe rinse is something that isn't like a classical like a Sazerac. You're doing an absinthe rinse this and that, rinse this and
Usually
that.
it's a spray. at
But
most.
I use spray. Like
Yeah.
I think
spray
spray's
it.
better too.
Spray's better. And then what I'll end up doing, actually, I'll spray it once, throw the rock in, spray it again. And so that the pores in the rock itself really soak in that absinthe, so that like when you pour everything else on top of that and mix it, it kind of releases it, so you get more aromatics out of it.
Okay.
You found a way.
I think
Found
he
a way.
did.
Is he eating the pizza?
Yeah, my cat got into the pizza. He is a little fuck.
Actually, you know what? I think it wasn't even slices in general. I think it was just like flavors from the plate.
Just licking up some sauce.
Just like his daddy.
Oh my.
Did you have
that out.
a cocktail that you feel like you got really good at making?
Just because I worked at the bar that focused on Rammstein fizzes, I got really fucking good at making Rammstein fizzes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you must have been so psyched when Valley came out.
Yes and no. It brought back some memories.
But then you got the PTSD of having to make 50
Yeah.
of those.
But that's what I did when we did the photo shoot. I was making all the Rammstein fizzes.
Yeah, I remember.
We'll just debate on that, but no, it's weird because like I'm a really big fan of cocktails in general. It's been most of my almost all of my adult life I've been bartending. So, there have been certain spins on cocktails. I'm gonna put this right here so it doesn't. I've made like a drink Campari sour instead of using just like triple sec and like orange liqueur and all these other things, because triple sec is orange liqueur technically.
Yeah.
I threw orange juice in there, or like fresh squeezed orange, give it some more body, not as slick, a little bit more mouthy, better mouthfeel.
Also, orange liqueur has like such a chemically taste
Typically,
to
I
it.
would
It's
agree,
weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
Because they're using like flavorings, they're not actually using
Yeah.
real orange.
Well,
No.
triple second.
Triple sec. Well, Cointreau too.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So, whenever I've come across a cocktail in general, I've always tried to use fresh. So like, orange liqueur, or like lemon this and that. Like, it's using fresh to try to kind of give you a different experience with the cocktail itself. That's kind of what I've always done in like consulting or overseeing bar programs that I've worked at, or showing to places like. always made the argument: get someone in here 30 minutes early and have them do all this stuff every single day. But that's kind of like, I don't know. It's not really a signature when you're just like, hey, I'm not going to use orange liqueur. I'm not going to use this, and that. Like,
I see.
I'll offset it by adding an extra quarter of an ounce or this and that of base spirit, and then we'll throw, orange juice, fresh squeezed orange juice in there, or fresh squeezed lemon, or fresh squeezed this and that. It completely changes it up. Or like making your own syrups. So there isn't, long story short, to get in a roundabout way, there isn't really a cocktail itself that like people are like, oh shit, you make this really fucking good. But not saying I'm a fucking horrible bartender, but I'm saying that like I've always tried to add a different spin on every single cocktail I've ever made, so it gives an impression on someone else. Like dude, like there was a bartender there. I worked at a tapas bar, and someone walked in. They're like, "Hey, like I really want a Mai Tai." I was like, "Well, I don't have everything on Mai Tai, but I can make an original Mai Tai, Mai Tai 44. I think it's 44." And they're like, "Okay." So I made one because we had all the ingredients for that, and she was like, "Holy shit, this is the best Mai Tai I've ever fucking had in my life." I go, "Cool." And she would come into town once a month, and every single time she'd walk up to my bar because it was a hotel bar, and I would make her that.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And that's what she knew me as the Mai Tai guy.
That's awesome.
But then someone else knew me as
Yeah.
like the smoked old fashioned guy. And then
Yeah.
someone else knew me as this and that. So like it was just one of those things that like if I'm going to order this drink from this bar, that guy's making it.
It's a
So it's
true
one of those
bartender,
things.
man.
Yeah.
I had regulars who had their drink. I also got good at doing the whole like, hey, I ordered this drink at this bar, but I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
And, which is like so annoying. But
Can you describe it for me?
yeah.
It had whiskey and it was boozy. And,
Yeah.
And they never ever
And it had an
know.
orange.
Yeah, it was orange and pink.
They know the
and
color.
yellow. You're like, what the fuck?
But they can barely like describe any of it. And I got really good at being able like hearing what
At your own bar, it's a lot easier. But
well the thing is the audacity the audacity
Harry Potter and the audacity of this bitch.
No, but really, like, I think there is a demographic of people who think that bartenders like go to study like a book full of
100%.
cocktails, and so they all know all of them.
Technically true. There are a lot of people who
do that.
swear by death and taxes.
Yeah.
Well, fair.
Swear
Fair,
by
fair,
death
fair.
and taxes. Continue.
But yeah, people would just come in. They just be like, "Oh, I had this drink once, and it was so good, and it made me feel like this."
Death
and
Death and Co.
and I
Oh, yeah.
think,
That is the beer.
yeah, sorry, Death
Great
and
black
Co.
lager.
Yeah.
Great black lager.
and it tasted kind of like this, and it was this color. And
I'm
blah,
not
They're
drunk, you're
called-
drunk.
Yeah.
And I definitely got to a point where I was really good at being able to figure it out. All I needed to know was the juice and the spirit.
Oh, that helps a lot, yeah.
I would be like, "Do you remember which
Well, Angel's
alcohol it
out.
was?" And
Angel was the
Was
juice.
it a whiskey drink?
even
Was
if
it a vodka drink?
and there were moments where even if they couldn't tell me the spirit, if they could give me the like essence, they were like, "Yeah, it tasted kind of like this," and they knew which juice was in it. I'd be like, "Okay, I think I know what that was probably." Yeah, and that's the end of that story. So just kidding.
Last time
Nicely
he went on
done.
a tangent like this and said, "Yeah, that's the end of that story." I looked over, this man was asleep in bed and was like, "What? What?"
Why are my pants off?
Oh wait, okay, so you need
Context: I was split in a hotel room in Seattle. Continue.
my pants were on.
Your pants were on.
Wes's pants
And-
are off.
Not
for
yet.
most of the night.
Angel's had to change position.
I feel like you have to have a tradition when you have guests. Like,
Okay.
so for example, I listen to a podcast and they have a tradition where one guest will ask a question to the next future guest,
Oh,
which is a really neat idea.
we're the first. Actually, no. Melissa's probably technically the first guest, huh?
Yeah, yes and no, but she was actually working at the time.
That's fair.
So like she was like
In and out.
She was a soundbite. She wasn't a guest.
So is
Oh,
the,
you guys
It's literally
recorded.
like a minute and a half, and I was talking to her. Like Cooksey turned off his mic, and all you can hear of her was me. That's why her segment was only 2 minutes because it got to the point to where she walked too far away from me. And
Sorry,
that
Melissa.
Was it.
And this, so you like,
That's no blame Cooksey. Don't blame.
you just
fucking us.
brought the mics into Prize Fighter.
Yeah, we brought the mics everywhere that night.
Yeah, literally
I
everywhere.
took it into the restroom. Yeah.
Actually?
Actually, yeah.
Oh, you sick fucks.
But yeah,
Well, it's like clipped on you. It wasn't even the
know.
restroom. It was just some like
I know.
abandoned storefront in Oakland. I just
So,
peed in the front door. Keep going.
what if your tradition
So that's half of Oakland.
was?
You gotta be more specific than that, man.
Yeah, that's very true.
What if your tradition was having your guests tell their best drunk story?
Oh,
Or drinking
story.
Yeah, we do that. I actually wanted to tell you guys like if you guys had a wild story, if you guys drinking or like it, seeing a customer, will you swap?
I think-
one for one.
I think Wes should go first.
Best drunk
Oh
story.
God. Hold on.
Also embarrassing.
That's what you get for
Having
not
a
reminding
cat.
me you had a cat.
Sorry.
That's fine. It's not your fault.
You wouldn't expect pussy at a gay man's apartment.
At least pussy he wouldn't enjoy. Anyway.
There's. I have two. No, I want to go with the first one. This was the second. The second one was much more of just like I happened to be plastered, and then I was with a guy who was just doing dumbass shit.
Okay.
So. Oh wait, no. Okay, I'll ask you guys this: Do you want to hear the one from college, or do you want to hear the one from Japan?
Well, I mean, Japan is just such a.
Okay, so Saul, I know I've told you this story before.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you this story before, Angel. So I went to Japan. I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago now. It was 2019, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh God, this seems so long now. And so I went on a family trip
Why do I look so drunk in this photo?
because you're mid chewing on pizza, I think,
I think so. Yeah. And also telling a story.
and
Sorry,
also
guys.
telling a story.
Sorry to the editor who has to edit this.
You
That's
mean
me.
yourself?
Yeah. And sorry, guys.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm Catholic. Keep going.
It's not guilt, man.
So, Japan.
Cheeked
up.
Family trip. So there's like 11 of us. If anybody has ever been to Japan before,
Family trip.
yeah, don't make this weird, man. Don't make this weird.
You made it weird, man. You didn't stop me. Anyway.
I gave up trying to stop you.
Yeah, very true. Very true. We work together.
HR, Nork, if you're listening to this, we love you.
Yeah.
We're sorry about the meal penalties. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. They give us 2 weeks max.
2 weeks max. 2 weeks max a month or 2 weeks max a year?
2 weeks. No, 2 weeks max of us following the meal.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
We'll be back in the fucking Mad Maxian fucking futuristic, just
Anyway.
sand and fucking shit.
So I'm on this family trip, and if anyone's ever been to Japan, you probably understand. Like, there was 11 people in our group. Trying to get 11 people in any fucking place in Japan, borderline impossible.
Yeah.
It's just there's very few restaurants that cater to people that
Also,
size.
all
and
you
usually the
guys,
ones-
quick question. All you guys are Chinese. Do you think you guys are invading? Keep going.
We are.
Oh God!
You know, the last time you guys tried that, a great wave came. Anyway, keep going.
No, it's not a great wave. Great leap. Great leap.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. It only works one way. Keep going.
Yeah, and the way is down.
Yeah.
Okay, avoiding politics. So we were going to try to find a restaurant in this little. I call it little. This city had to be like 130, 140,000 people, which in the U.S. is fucking huge. 140,000 people, big town, and the only place that would accommodate 11 foreigners who speak only English was an Italian restaurant, run by Japanese people, but it was Italian. And I was sitting here, I did not fly all the way to Japan to have Italian food. So I said, peace out to my family, and I went to an izakaya, which is the Japanese equivalent to like the pub. So I sit down, got a little sushi platter, got a bunch of yakitori skewers, Had a pitcher of beer to myself. It was great. I was enjoying myself, having a good time. And all of a sudden, this Japanese businessman comes up and taps me on the shoulder and it's just like, "Are you single?" And I was very confused. I was like, "Yes?" Question mark? And then this other guy comes over behind him. He's got a Dodgers hat on. And he's perfect English. Great. Dude's from LA. He was there on business, and I guess he worked with this guy. And he goes, no, he means, are you, like, by yourself? And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm just hanging out. Like, I should probably go see my family. So he's like, oh, well, we're over here drinking. Like, do you want to join us? Like, Japanese people, super friendly.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, man, why not? So I go over there. There's 5 or 6 of us, and we're just shots of sake, beer, shots of sake, beer. Next thing I know, it's like 2:30 in the morning. I think we went through, the 5 of us went through, I want to say 9 or 10 bottles of beer and like 4 or 5 bottles of sake. Like, we drank a lot. And I was like, all right, man, like, I should go home. Oh, thank you, sir. And then the guy goes, oh, well, we're gonna go drink some more and do karaoke. Like, do you want to come? Like, fuck yeah! So I got kidnapped by these 4 Japanese businessmen and this dude from Irvine.
Irvine, that's
Yeah, he was.
funny.
Yeah, I recall him saying he was from Irvine, or maybe he went to UC Irvine. It was one of the two. And we ended up. Shout out to what was his last name? Daniel. Started with a J. Not gonna remember. Sorry, buddy. I know you're never gonna listen. It's fine. And so we do karaoke for 2.5 hours. I think we'd had like 3 or 4
angry emails to localdrunkspod@gmail.com. Keep going.
Oh, was that your necessary ad read? Like how on radio you have to do like the weather every hour?
It's just like if they want to get a hold of us and be angry.
Oh, please be angry.
Or speakpipe.com/localdrunkspod. Leave a voice message. We'll play it next week.
John.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Actually, no apology to John because we're talking about Fresno. Sorry, John. Anyway.
Oh, maybe he was from Fresno. Not kidding. So we ended up at this karaoke spot. We had like 5 or 6 more bottles of beer and like 2 bottles of sake. I'm plastered out of my mind. They're like, well, you can't stop drinking without having some ramen. So I was like, okay. So now I go and have ramen with these dudes. It's like 4:30 in the morning.
Holy shit.
And I have no idea where I am. So I start wandering around this city. Mind you, again, 100 and some thousand plus people.
Yeah.
And I'm just roaming around. And after like 30, 40 minutes of walking, I just like, in a sitcom, just stumble and I look to my left and the hotel is right there. And I was like, oh, I made it home. And I walked in and the door didn't open, but my body didn't stop moving. So I walked into the door and the night attendant just looked at me and she was like, are you okay? Like, opened the door, walked in, was like, threw my hands at her, was like, yeah, I'm good. Walked over the elevator, went upstairs, went inside. My mom was like, where the fuck have you been? And I just went, right there on the floor. Didn't make it to bed. Just passed out on the floor in the hotel room. My mom didn't even bother moving me. She was just like, he'll get up in the morning. Rolled over, went back to bed. I wake up and she's like prodding me. She's like, hey, the bus is leaving in 20 minutes. Get up.
Jesus.
Best night that I had of that entire trip. Don't remember half of it, but it was a great night.
Some very, very friendly
Japanese people are so
Japanese
friendly.
people,
They're
yeah.
so friendly.
Just got you nice and drunk, and we're like,
Dude, and they bought everything. I didn't pay for a thing.
And then they let him walk home by himself.
And they
But
let me walk
also
home by
Foreigner in a
myself.
foreign land.
Okay, but also it's supposedly
It's one of the
it
safest
is
countries on the
incredibly
planet.
safe.
Yeah. Like,
You can walk anywhere in Japan and like be fine.
That's what they want you to believe.
And in
unless
fact-
you're a woman.
well, yeah, that's fair.
Sexual harassment is definitely
It's
a problem.
still a thing. But also like there are a lot of there's still a lot of people who in that type of situation where they get hammered, if they don't think they're gonna make it home, will just go to sleep on the sidewalk and nobody fucks
Oh,
with
super
them.
common, yeah.
Yeah.
especially in the major cities, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. Like, it's not uncommon to be walking through the suburbs and just have a dude in a business suit just passed out like against like a house garden wall, and no one will bother him.
If anything, they'll leave stuff for him, right? Like water bottles and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very cool. Does
collectivist culture, man, it's crazy.
It's a good segue into my story.
Ooh,
Okay.
Ooh, let's hear that.
So I started drinking pretty late in life, actually. So I didn't
About
really
2
drink
weeks
in
ago,
high
folks.
school at all.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. I didn't drink in high school really. I was very like good and straight edge in like high school.
Okay.
And then in college, I did drink some, but I had more of an affinity towards weed than I did alcohol. Like, alcohol wasn't really my drug of choice. It wasn't until my like early 20s, like 23, 24, around the same time that I started working in the bar industry, that I started drinking. And the very, very first shift I ever had at a bar, I was a barback. I'd just gotten hired as a barback. And I just didn't fucking drink like that. Like, I did not drink heavy. I did not drink much at all. But the entire bar staff was like, you gotta come get a drink with us after our shift. You're the new guy. Like, and obviously I'm brand new, so I wanted to get on everybody's good graces. I wanted people to dig me. So we all went to what, until like literally a couple months ago, is considered like the most industry bar in downtown Berkeley. There's this spot called Beta Lounge, which is so random. Like, no, I don't understand why anybody would go there, but for some reason it's like the spot for all the industry folk. And so we all went there, and every person on the staff bought me a shot.
Jesus.
And I should have known better, but I didn't at the time. I was just like, okay. So, you know, I got pretty plastered. And I lived not too far from this place, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna walk home. So on my way home, I realize as I'm walking home that I wasn't gonna make it.
Oh no.
I was like, again, I did not drink very heavy at this time. This is my first night at in the bar industry. And I drank a fuck ton. And I was just like, yeah, there's no way. I know I'm not going to make it. And so I did what I felt was the best thing to do at that time. And I crawled into a bush. And I propped myself up in the bush, and I went to sleep.
Not the first time he's woken up in a bush, folks.
It's
Anyway.
the only time anything has ever happened to me. And it definitely learned my lesson. It's a college town, so this wasn't like super
anything new,
abnormal, you know. But I woke up and somebody stole my skateboard. At the time I had skated everywhere. And that was like the worst of it. Somebody stole my skateboard. That sucked. But I was fine. And I got home. But now I get to tell people that I have slept in a bush before.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn. I don't think I've ever slept in any type of plant before.
This was also, now mind you, this was before Uber, right? Like, now I call a car.
Yeah.
And I know I'm fine.
You
I'm
get
getting
woken up at
home.
the place you're supposed to be at.
Yeah. I also have, like, for better or worse, have like developed a sense of when it's about time to get home.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm with people,
I still try sometimes.
then I'll
Yeah.
I'll let the people get me home sometimes.
I will
Wow.
say the couple times I've seen you like plaster drunk, at least when we're home. When I say home, like local, we're drinking local. The second you hit the wall, you borderline Irish goodbye.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very well known for being someone who knows when I have to leave, and I will not hesitate. I won't bother to say goodbye if you're not paying attention to me. When I'm ready to go, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, Napa was the only time I've seen you like, no.
Well, and again, I was in a bad
You were
state.
you were not in a good place.
I had learned that somebody very close to me had just died, and also was going through what potentially was a breakup. So it was not a good situation.
Damn.
It was a sloppy situation, but we all have them.
It's fine. We only had to wheelbarrow carry you out.
Were you in a wheelbarrow, or were you like they had your legs and you were kind of like?
We had him by the limbs
Okay.
I think Wes is being really disrespectful because I
because I had to carry you.
did also give one of the best karaoke performances of my life. So
Oh yeah. What were you doing? What were you singing?
I sang "Billie Jean" by Michael
Oh
Jackson.
damn.
Yeah. No, your Billie Jean was very good. It just was very unfortunate you had to follow up that. What was his name? Ray.
Yeah, that's true. Don't ever do karaoke at a Filipino party.
Have any of you guys ever seen that video of like it's like this Filipino dude, he's like super skinny, he's sitting on a stool and he just belts out the chorus to "My Heart Will Go On,"
Yeah.
and just murders it
course.
like he's like Celine Dion.
Yeah.
That is what this dude was.
Yeah.
Like what did he sing? Sam Smith.
It was something amazing.
Yeah, it was like kind of a modern-ish. No, he was singing Bruno Mars, I think.
It might have been Bruno Mars.
And he did like a Bruno Mars song,
I think it was the flower one.
And Ash, when I was your man, he did the he
Couldn't buy you flowers. I don't know.
I should have bought you flowers. Yeah,
That one.
He did that song, and like I thought we were listening to the actual song, and I looked over, and then here's Angel just like doing the like Macarena shimmy with the microphone in his hand, just ready to go, and I'm just sitting here by this little campfire going,
Oof.
"Ooh-wee, let's go." Took a big old sip of whatever beer I was drinking at the time. I think I had a shot of tequila as well. I went over and listened, and to my surprise,
Not bad, but
Man killed
also not amazing. Like, not this
considering how drunk you were, you did a very good job.
But also, we need to really put emphasis on how amazing this Filipino man was. Like,
Oh, dude, he murdered it
it was
in the best way
insane.
possible. It was like we had heard how good he was before he got to the party. That is how good this guy was
Yeah.
singing.
Damn.
Oh, they were already talking about him, yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, "I'm not even sure he's coming tonight, but like if he does, he's gonna. It's gonna be experience."
They could buy a whole new mop for the floor.
I might have to wind down.
Oh no, I think we're actually. This is a good spot to actually.
I have a curfew in my apartment building, which it looks like we're getting close to.
I believe
we
we
actually
passed it.
passed it. It's 10:10.
Yeah.
But no, that's actually a
10:10?
good spot to call it. Of course, thanks again to Charles Woodsen's Intercept. We're drinking a Monterey County Pinot Noir 2021, and then thank you for Wes for bringing. I'm guessing are you a Scribe member? No.
I'm not.
Mike is.
Mike is.
Cool. So did you get this from Mike?
No. So the Napa trip in question that I'm talking about is
The one-
me and Angel got invited up to go with him since
Oh, nice.
he goes periodically, and Scribe is one of my favorite wineries. I've been.
Oh, did
a
you buy
handful
that
of
bottle
times.
then?
I believe I bought that bottle on that trip. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Thank you very much for sharing. The Scribe 2021 Cabernet Sauvignon. Westside Atlas Peak.
If
Going
you say it
8
fast,
acres.
it makes it more official. You have to say it like,
Westside Atlas Peak.
Is that your professional sommelier opinion? Because he is
8
Som
acres.
one.
750 milliliters, 40% by volume. Phenomenal. Very good wine. Thank you, sir.
I just
Shout
want to
out-
say really quick that when you finally get Bill Burr, then you've made it.
Fucking who doesn't? The
Invite
Billboard's
us,
the
please.
horror fucking podcast. That guy's on everything.
But he is the signifier of like
That
making
you've made it.
Yeah, if you can get Bill Burr, you are like legend.
Yeah. Okay.
You've transcended.
We do. We'll do a live show that day, and we'll just have people sitting in the audience.
I'll be the MC. I just want to be close to him.
There you go. He wants to
You
lick
guys
his-
want to go see
He wants to
Bill Burr?
lick his skull.
Let's look up his tour. Let's look up his tour dates. Let's go.
Jesus Christ.
Let's get him on the podcast that way. Let's just go to his show and then afterwards, like,
Like, hey man, we do a local
Try and get a
drunks
snippet.
podcast. You want
Yeah,
to come?
love it. Yeah, he'd be like, "Fuck you guys." He'd be like, "All right, there we go. Thank
can
you,
you
Bill Burr."
can you tell our podcast to fuck off?
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not some
How
whore
about
dancing
you
outside
fuck
for
off,
a.
buddy.
Yeah, I'm not shaking my thing for nickels. Anyway, so thank you everybody for listening. This is Saul with Angel and Wes. You
Hey,
can find us at
Saul, thanks for having us.
Hey,
and
no,
shout
no.
out, I'm going to put a random name. Shout out Nikki.
Holy shit.
Congratulations. She's starting a new job in
Good
a few
job.
days.
Congratulations.
Shout out Nikki.
We would like, we're for sale, Butter Wines. So anyway, so we are not drinking the official drink of the unofficial drink of Local Drunks.
Where's my highball?
Is now no highball. Just wines today. But you can find us at Instagram.com/localdrunkspod. You could look for us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts at Local Drunks Pod. You can also, if you have a crazy industry story or would like to share something with us and you don't mind your voice being played on the podcast, speakpipe.com/localdrunkspod. And then also, pretty soon, website, localdrunkspod.com. And patreon.com/localdrunkspod. You want to keep us keep the show going, throw us a little bit of change, feel free to get on there. It's $1, $5, or $10 tiers. We did finally get our first subscriber. Thanks, Dave. And we're looking for you, John. You son of a bitch. Anyway, so feel free to go over there, throw us some cash, and it allows us to do things like trip to Taiwan, 48 Hours in Seattle, which she'll be launching this week on patreon.com. And then also we're going to do 48 Hours in East Bay, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, San Jose, Santa Cruz, and then start heading to other places like Chicago, Portland, Dallas, Miami, New York, all these places. So if you get into the area, into the Bay Area, and want a good list of places to go, feel free to email us. Or if you'd like to just come drink, you seem like a cool dude, just message us and we'll meet you for some drinks, man. Anyway, thank you guys very much for joining us, and thank you guys for being guests.
If you want to see more of us or hear more from us, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Hit that little bell in the corner. We have 8 subscribers on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
We're going for double digits, folks. Double digits. So yeah, like and subscribe. That would be phenomenal. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good night.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Local Drunks Podcast. Tune in next week to hear more about what we drank, ate, and what belligerent things we got into. Until then, sip something nice.